Hey guys, it's Steven with Real Anime Training, and today we're going to talk about cutting toxic people out of your life. 2016 taught me a lot about myself, and one of those things is that I don't want to be around toxic people anymore. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to put up with it. So I'm going to share those lessons with you today, and I hope they help you. And before we talk about cutting those people out of your life, first we need to define what that means. We need to define what it means to be a toxic person, and we need to define what it means by cutting them out of your life. Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines toxic as containing or being poisonous material, especially when capable of causing death or serious debilitation. It also defines it as extremely harsh, malicious, or harmful. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're going to be focusing mainly on this one, but this one could also apply. Now, based on that definition, we can understand that a toxic person is someone that is harmful to you. And as you saw in the definition, it really doesn't matter whether or not they meant it. They could be intending you harm, or they could not be intending you harm and still harm you. Either way, they would still be a toxic person in your life. Or they can be toxic to different degrees. We can all agree that alcohol is toxic. Nicotine is toxic. Cyanide is toxic. And radon gas is toxic. But these are not toxic on the same levels or for the same reasons. And it's the same way with people. There's going to be people that are toxic to you on a small degree, but you're willing to put up with it or you're willing to work with it because they're a close family member or they're a really good friend. But then there's other people, even if they are family or if they are a close friend, that just being around them is draining. Just being around them devalues your life. It harms you on a daily basis. If you're constantly around someone and they are negative all the time, if they're constantly angry, if they're blaming you for things, that's not something that you need to be dealing with on a regular basis because it's going to drag you down. That type of toxicity, while not immediately deadly, is something that can wear on you over a long period of time. If someone is really stressful, you might find that you're tired all the time and you're not really sure why. Or if you're having to have argument after argument after argument for no reason, and logic doesn't enter into this person's mind because they're only concerned with how they feel about a situation, or they're only concerned with what they think and what they feel is right, and not concerned with what you think or what you feel is right, then you can end up with a situation where you are completely exhausted just living. This toxic person can be an abuser. This toxic person can be somebody who just doesn't care about anybody but themselves. Or it can be somebody that doesn't even have the self-awareness to know that what they're doing is harmful to people. Certain people, like the abusers, are the ones you cut out immediately, as quickly as you can, as safely as you can. You need to extricate yourself from the situation because that's not going to end well for you or anybody involved. And you don't need to feel bad about it. You might feel bad about it, but you don't need to feel bad about it. If it's an abuser who doesn't listen to what you have to say about what they are doing to you, you have no business being in that relationship. Whether or not it's family or romantic or platonic, you have no business being in that relationship. If it's somebody who's dragging you down on a daily basis or constantly arguing with you, or you're constantly having to deal with putting out fires all the time. Perhaps you need to sit that person down and discuss this issue with them and say, hey, look, what the things that you're doing are, they're really affecting me. I really value our relationship and I don't want to see it hurt that, but I need you to meet me in the middle here. I need you to work with me because I feel like you are harming me with the things that you're doing. If that person doesn't listen to you, or they laugh it off, or this is the 15th time you've had this conversation and nothing is really different, now's the time that you need to be considering cutting this person out of your life. I talked about people who are mildly toxic. You know, they're the alcohol of the toxic people world. They might be a little bit difficult to deal with. They might cause a little bit of issues, but they're fun and they, you know, you enjoy the things that you get out of them, so they're worth the hassle. You know, that's a personal choice. Like, for instance, myself, I don't drink, so that wouldn't be something that would work with me. And I feel like it's the same thing with people. I don't want to deal with somebody who is a hassle on a daily basis. I don't want to have to put up with someone who is a hassle just because they're really fun. I had a friend like that in high school. He was a great, fun friend, super fun. We did all kinds of stuff together. This friend lied a lot for no reason at all. And I, found out a couple of things that they did that were not very awesome or friend-like. And eventually just had to cut it off because no matter how much fun this person was, it wasn't worth dealing with the headaches. And so, much like alcohol, in my personal opinion, it's not worth dealing with the headaches. So now that we've talked about the types of people, the types of toxic people that we're going to cut out of our lives, let's talk about what it means to cut somebody out of your life. Obviously, much like there are degrees of toxic people, there are degrees of removing someone from your life. It can be an immediate shunk, and we just cut it off, and we don't speak to them anymore, and we don't see them, and we don't even need to give them a reason why. That is a personal choice based on how toxic they were to you and how much you want to deal with the possible impending drama of just cutting them off like that. Next, we can kind of remove ourselves slowly from a situation. We can turn a close friendship or a close familial relationship into kind of a longer distance. You can either put some actual distance in between you and this person, if you have the opportunity to, in form of moving, or you can put some virtual distance in between yourself just by not interacting with them as much as possible. Don't seek them out. Don't go to the places you know that they're going to be, and try not to, especially interact on social media too much, because there's really nothing good that comes from interacting with a toxic person on social media. Have you seen YouTube comments? Exhibit A. And finally, there's the cut you out of my life, but not really. And you might end up doing more with people who are family that are toxic to you. What you'll end up doing is you separate yourself as much as possible. You don't get involved in any kind of family drama that's going on, and you pretty much only see them when absolutely necessary. So, Christmas, other holidays, somebody is dying, somebody had a baby, that's about it. Some people might think that's harsh, but you have a limited amount of time to live and do the things that you need to do. Why waste that amount of time being miserable around people who make you miserable and wasting time in general just not doing the things that you need to do and that you want to do? I mean, obviously sometimes there's some times that are going to need your attention when you would rather be doing something else, obligations. And you decide when you want to spend that time on those obligations with people who you feel like build into you, people who you feel like are worthy of your time. That's not to be elitist or anything like that. This is talking about our daily mental health. Because if you neglect your mental health by continually interacting with toxic people, it will hurt you. Your stress levels will go up. You're going to end up being tired and sick. And when your stress levels go up, your cortisol levels are all crazy. It can affect your eating habits, and the next thing you know, you have obesity, and the next thing you know, you're 45 and you're overweight and you're out of shape and you're tired and you just want people to leave you alone, so you go hit the bottle, or you take another pill, and the next thing you know, you're dead. Heart attack, and oh, he was so young. And all because you dealt with toxic people when you could have been dealing with people who build you up and make your life better. Now, this is not an excuse to be a hermit, although there's nothing wrong with being a hermit, I guess. And it is not an out for people to say, oh, well, I'm not going to help someone who needs help, or I'm not going to, help a troubled person in their time of need because they're toxic. No, this isn't about that. This is about who you have in your close circle, your intimate circle of friends and family and close connections. You can still help people. You can still give back. You can volunteer. You can be a listening ear when someone needs it, and you can help somebody move if they need it. But because you have the energy to expend on those things, because you've not been wasting it on people who just want to suck the life out of you. So to review, we have the alcohol people who are, mildly toxic, but you put up with them because they seem fun. You have people on the level of like nicotine or something along those lines who you probably need to wean yourself off of over time. That's probably your best healthy bet. And then you have the people who are straight up cyanide. And those people you need to get away from. I think everyone experiences toxic people in their life, and it's not necessarily that there's always something wrong with them. It's just that they don't mesh well with us. They're toxic to who we are and how we live our lives. So somebody that's toxic to one person might not be toxic to another person. And so this really varies on a case-by-case basis. I can't tell you that one person's toxicity is going to be somebody else's toxicity, because different people get along with different kinds of people. So that's really a personal decision that needs to be made after you've weighed what your values are and what their values are. And it really boils down to, what are you as a person willing to put up with? And once you've decided that, once you've decided what direction that you'd like your life to go in, then you can remove the people that are toxic to you, and you can keep the people who build you up. And you can kind of make bit by bit decisions with the people in between. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful to you. If you have any thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you have any other questions, I can make another video about this topic again at another time. Once again, thank you guys very much for watching. If you do like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck and train hard.